You know the type. Hair combed to perfection, and if a pen on the desk is even 1 millimeter crooked, they have to walk over and straighten it themselves. Every time I meet someone like that, the same wicked thought pops into my head. If this person committed murder, would he end up walking right into the trap just because the crime scene wasn't tidy enough? That's how this story was born. A brilliant surgeon somewhere in the southern hemisphere, the kind who operates with the most advanced robotic equipment money can buy, pulls off a murder he considers a work of art. Afterward, he runs into a scruffy old detective, the sort of guy who still carries a paper newspaper in his coat pocket and can't even put a coin into a coffee machine without the thing swallowing it whole. Technology can wipe out error. It can't wipe out human vanity. Stick with this one until the end. And watch this god of surgery, a man used to looking down on everyone around him, get backed into a corner by his own obsessive perfectionism, one detail at a time. Fair warning, by the time you finish, you might catch yourself checking if the apps on your phone home screen are perfectly sorted by color.
1. The perfect surgery. In the southern city of Glaciapolis, on the 27th floor of a private medical center, a transplant surgery was being streamed live to the world. On screen, a pair of Da Vinci robotic arms hovered with perfect steadiness, every motion so precise there wasn't a single unnecessary tremor. Comments scrolled by underneath, beautiful exposure. His vascular control is unbelievable. Masterpiece. At the console in the operating room sat a man, utterly still. His long fingers rested lightly on the main controller, and every small movement he made looked like a pianist striking a note. This was Director Shen, the man who'd trained nearly every robotic surgeon of note in the southern hemisphere. Some said the margin of error when he sutured a blood vessel was thinner than a human hair. Others said his real gift wasn't his skill at all, but the simple fact that he never made mistakes. Through his smart glasses, a nurse's voice murmured in from the next room. Director, Phase 2's complete. Perfectly flawless. Patient stable. And congratulations, by the way. The live stream just passed 200,000 viewers. Shen didn't look up. His voice stayed calm as still water. Turn off the comments and keep it quiet in here, please. Then quietly he pressed a button. AI procedure available in 12 seconds. The countdown began. Shen's hands slid free of the robot's control gloves. He checked his watch, pulled a pair of disposable shoe covers from the sterile cabinet beside him, snapped on a fresh pair of sterile gloves, and slipped out through the back door of the operating room without a sound. 30 floors up, on the edge of the roof, young Dr. Lowe looked down at Central Park below, where a protest banner had already been unrolled. Trade young lives for your own immortality. Shame on you. Beside it, another, butchers without a conscience. His fingers shook as he lit a cigarette. He rarely smoked, and yet 4 or 5 butts already lay scattered at his feet. He kept glancing at his phone, checking it again and again, like he was waiting for something or afraid of something. Every time the screen lit up, he snatched it up, looked, then glanced nervously around him. Nothing happened. He ground the cigarette out under his heel, disgusted, and pulled out another, dragged deep on it. Then suddenly his body swayed. What the? He pressed a hand to his forehead. The world in front of him began to spin. The edge of the rooftop seemed to stretch out, then warp in his vision. The cigarette slipped from his fingers and fell. Less than a minute later, a head rose over the edge of the roof, as if out of nowhere, and a man wrapped in a padded coat hauled himself up and over. Without pausing to catch his breath, he walked straight toward the young doctor, slumped at the edge of the roof. Surgical shoe covers clad his feet. Beneath the coat, a flash of green scrubs showed with every step, but his face was half buried in the coat's collar, leaving nothing but a pair of eyes, unnervingly calm. The man raised his wrist and checked a mechanical watch. 5 minutes to 11. He seemed satisfied, nodded to himself, then crouched beside the unconscious doctor and went through his pockets fast. He didn't find what he was looking for. Frustration flickered across his face, and he searched again, this time so thoroughly that not even a scrap of paper in the young doctor's pocket escaped him. He bent down once more and found a cigarette butt with a faint black smudge on it, almost accidental looking. He pocketed it. "Shame," the man said, glancing at the banner below with distaste. "You could have made a fine surgeon." A moment later, a body was falling, caught in the wind, rushing up the side of a building more than a dozen stories tall. The killer spun around at once, vaulted back over the edge of the roof, and vanished, just like that. Back in his own operating room, Shen walked to the console at an even pace, took the controls again, and finished the surgery, flawlessly, to the end. Half an hour later, a hover transport carrying the patient glided quietly back into the charging bay. Down the corridor, Director Sang, the head of anesthesiology, shuffled up to Shen's door in his surgical clogs and knocked. Shen smiled warmly. "Is our VIP patient awake?" "All thanks to your incredible skill, Director. Recovery's going beautifully. Honestly, I don't know where you get the energy. You never seem to tire." With that, he held out a steaming cup of coffee.